How's it going?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Just woke up. How are you, man?
Yeah, it's so from last time we spoke, like I'm actually profitable now, like a few $100s a day. So
Oh, that's heaps
I
good.
made some improvements.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
heaps good.
Have you scaled anything yet? Or are
Yeah,
you
so
still
I've been
doing like 3, 4K a day?
yeah, I've been still sitting around that. I have a winner, but I just need to fix a few some of my Facebook accounts started getting suspended. So I need to fix that issue. But once that's fixed, I'm gonna go ahead and scale a bunch of products and then go ahead launch a bunch of similar products to that and try scale to maybe 10K a day. That's one of my goals at the moment. And then
Oh
maybe
wow,
even
yeah.
more, and then maybe eventually go ahead and start going for products that um, no one has tested. Because one of my top students, what how he got to 30K a day was he tested a product that no one else tests, so he got basically the whole pie, and that's how he hit 30K days.
Yeah, it's your main, right?
Yeah, and that's definitely the goal.
Oh, okay.
How about you,
Um,
man?
yeah, well, I have I've hired two people now. I have a video editor and a product researcher.
Yep.
But like even with your methods, I still find it kind of hard to find products that are worth testing. Like I'll find like maybe like one every 2 days. It's actually worth testing.
Yep. I see. I see. Yeah. Um, which methods are you currently using a lot?
Like I like to test like things that haven't blown up on Facebook yet, and that's how I found one of my winners right now.
Yeah, so that means all your products you test are basically products that aren't on Facebook. No one has tested. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I try to test mostly.
Yeah, that's definitely good. So that means if your current winner, no one out there has tested, that means you definitely have potential to scale it to 30K with the right strategies. Hey Levi, for some reason I can't hear anyone. What's happening? Can I hear Levi? Uh,
Hey Andy, how's it going? Is there a, you click on the mic to mute it? Yeah, that worked. Hey man, how's it going?
Pretty good, yeah. For some reason, I'm not. Do I have? Am I the one muting you guys, or are you guys muting yourself?
No, we're muting ourselves. You can do it by clicking the microphone on the bottom left.
Okay, so I
Yeah, I
wasn't
can
the
hear
one
you.
muting you guys. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, as I was saying, yeah. If your product no one else has tested, Chris, there's definitely potential to bring it to the next level and make a lot of money. So definitely ask Richard to help you out with that.
Yeah, yeah. We've actually tried everything, and for one of the products, we tried everything, and I guess this certain product you just can't scale it. So I
Okay,
just left it on the side, and it's making me a few hundred a day. Without scaling,
okay,
you can't really
yeah.
scale it.
Do that then. If that's the case, then keep it on the side and it'll be like a small winner and use all your profits to go ahead and start testing again and again to find more winners.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, how you going, Levi?
It's okay. I have one product that's recently, just Saturday and Sunday, been dropping off.
Okay.
It's not an extremely popular product
Mm.
in that there's only two sellers on AliExpress that sell this.
Yeah.
And they're not extremely good, but I've been getting, today I broke even. Previous days I've been making $50 profit.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy in sales yet,
Okay, I
but I
see.
am not pushing a ton in ads yet. Haven't started any lookalikes. I probably should expand interests.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
I
100% the
have
way to
cut
go.
anything that I started losing money on, I cut.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. That's a good way to save money for sure. Um, you know, with Facebook ads, you definitely want to be launching ad sets every day because ad sets mean money. The only difference from you and someone who's making 2, 3, 4K a day is they're just spending much more money on ads. So there's really isn't any reason why you can't reach that stage as well. That's I think I was a friend of mine was talking to Alex Becker, and he was saying the only difference from us and him is he's spending a lot of money on ads. That's the only difference. That's basically the only difference from you reaching to those bigger numbers. You know, these guys who are doing big numbers, even me who are doing, you know, decent numbers. The only difference is I'm just having a lot of products, a lot of ads. So you guys could definitely achieve the same just by launching more products, launching more ad sets, and that's how you reach bigger days.
Yep. I mean, I launched a new product last night. Let me just check on it right now and I'll see how it's doing. So I have one add to cart and 2 initiated checkouts on that product. That means I'm guessing my back end abandoned checkout kicked in and drove them back to the checkout page. Still no purchases on that, but that I launched just last night.
Hmm.
Um, but the other product that I've got now, what's it holding? Yeah, it's got one purchase. One guy bought 2 items of it today, but
Okay.
other than that, it hasn't been doing that much. Let me see how many link clicks it got today.
Because another thing that I've learned in a group chat, I have a group chat with everyone from my Thailand mastermind, and everyone's
Oh,
saying that
nice.
this weekend has been pretty rough. Like some of them went from netting 25% throughout the weekday, but during the weekend they dropped all the way to break even. So apparently the
Yeah,
weekend has been
that's kind of what happened with me. I mean, right now, so today I'm still at less than $100 in sales.
mm,
Um, there were a decent amount of add to carts. I have a 10% conversion on the add to cart
yeah,
and 7% on the initiated checkout, but right now there's only been one purchase, which is actually interesting
yeah.
because
Okay.
in previous days it has been converting much higher, probably around 4 or 5%
Got it,
on the
got
good
it.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think it's just Facebook algorithm currently just changing
Yeah.
and just being annoying. Um, I definitely, well, my accounts have been down. I've been trying to get that issue solved. The reason it was down because I've been pretty lazy. I've been getting my VAs just to sort of rip other people's videos, and maybe change the music. But that's about it. So now I have to full change up my system and go ahead and actually edit my own edits for every single product I test. So that's just going to add an extra step to my product testing. Because before, when I were able to just rip videos, I was able to like get my VAs to test like 10 products a day. But now having my editor have to come in, edit the videos, that's going to be pushed down to like 5 products a day. But I think that's just the way to go if I don't want my accounts consistently getting banned.
Yeah, I mean, so I have a VA doing that, and the problem was she was sick. That's the problem a lot of times with these personal VAs versus the teams. She was really cheap and everything, but she got sick this past week, so for 2 days I wasn't putting out any products.
Yeah, that's definitely.
So
You definitely want to diversify. Definitely get more VAs. I found that editors are to find good editors are really hard. That was probably one of the most difficult VAs to find because I had to go through like 5 or 6 until I found one that was really really good. That made edits that were like probably like BuzzFeed style, sort of those trendy style ads, and it took me quite a lot. So definitely put in the time to look through applicants. And then once you get one, keep them on your contacts, either part-time, casual, but just have them a few backups on the side. That's highly recommended.
yeah,
Any
It
other
makes me
questions,
think so much
Chris?
easier. Like it's like the thing I hated most about dropshipping was writing descriptions and videos.
Yep.
Like I just give my product to my VA and they upload it, make the video and everything. It's so easy now.
Yeah, that's yeah. Drop out like basically with dropshipping to actually succeed, it's all about building the team. Um, if you sort of do everything yourself, it's really, really hard to succeed. It's all about building the team, because once that happens, everything just becomes so much easier. Um, Definitely building a team. But I do know some guys. I think one of my friends, he was able to hit like 20k days, um, maybe maybe even 30k days, just doing it himself. This is someone I met at the mastermind. Like, he just spent 8 hours a day. He was like a dad. He worked at home. He was doing it for a living, so everything was on a line. So he was actually putting 8 hours, maybe even 10 hours every single day, doing everything himself, video editing, everything. He didn't even have a team. So it's possible to hit big numbers working on your own. And he was even doing customer
Wow.
service. It was insane. But like, if you look at 99% of dropshippers, no one actually puts in 8 hours of like consistent work daily. Like 8 hours of work is like insane. And this is
Yeah,
like 8 hours of no
one of my other
procrastinating,
questions I
no
had,
watching YouTube, just working.
yeah, it's hard.
Mm.
One of my other questions was, do ad accounts get used to certain budgets? Like, my ad account right now is for like over 10,000, and it's only at the $5 price point. And when I try launching higher budget price points, it doesn't really work too well. So would you suggest using different ad accounts?
For sure, yeah. So each ad account is optimized differently. I definitely have heard from different sources that each account has different methods of scaling. That's a thing. But I also have noticed that with my ad accounts, that sometimes when I start testing different methods, or testing 2-3 different methods in one ad account, 2 or 3 different methods would work. That's the experiences I've been getting. But optimization of an ad account is definitely a thing.
Okay, good to know.
How would you recommend I start with lookalike audiences in terms of video views? I mean, I would only want to target people that viewed a specific video, not everyone who viewed any video on my page.
Yep.
Um,
So you wanna, yeah,
are-
create a
are
custom
the-
audience for the people who viewed the ad itself. So the ad that's
Yeah.
driving people to, um, the ad that you're using, there's usually only one ad, one video that you advertise, and then people go ahead and watch the video, and then they click on the link, then go to your product page. You want to do custom audiences for that video. And then,
and it's possible to do that. I don't know. I never played around with custom audiences.
okay,
That's
yeah.
why I'm just.
Yeah, so you would go ahead and you would go to Facebook, you go to custom audiences, you will create a custom audience, and then you could then pick engagement, which is the one on the very bottom, and then you click on video views, and then from video views you could choose your video, and then once you're choosing it,
Okay.
that's pretty simple, because you're shown all the different videos that you have on your Facebook page, and then you just pick it, and then you could do a custom audience for 3-second views, 10-second views, 25%, all the way up to 95%. And I recommend you do custom audiences for all of them. And once you have the custom audience finished, then you could then pick each one. Say you want to do a lookalike audience for just 3-second views. You want to do a lookalike audience for just 10-second views. And then there's different percentages. And how lookalike audiences work is 1% is sort of like the most similar type of people to that audience group. 2% would be quite similar, but not as similar as 1%. And then that goes on until 10%. So 10% will be the most sort of different. Well, not different, but they'll be similar, but not as similar as 9%. So that's how it would work. And then you go ahead and use those as audiences when you do, targeting for your new ad sets, and then you just would leave everything blank. You wouldn't do any countries, age groups, and interests. You just put in the custom audience for that lookalike audience.
So the lookalike audience, you have to target a country, don't you? You say 1% of a specific country.
That's right. So you'll probably start off with where your product is making most of its sales from.
I got that. And in terms of size of that custom audience before you go and build a lookalike, like for example, I have on that website page, I already have over 1,000 views on that page.
Yeah,
Is that big enough? Is
for sure,
100
for
big enough?
sure. So you're gonna look for more, at least 300. At least 300's the goal.
Yeah. So I mean, the add to carts aren't close to that much, but the website views I already have well over 1,000. So
Yeah, so expand horizontally, use lookalike audiences, and then eventually after you burn through the all the lookalike audiences for the video views and then go through the view content, then by then you should have enough add to carts and purchases to then do lookalike audiences for those two factors.
and what would you recommend the budget be for lookalike audiences? Should they be slightly higher when you test them because they're more definitive audience?
I go ahead and do $5. That's sort of what's been working for me. Sometimes I do $10. $10 is pretty good as well. Those are the budgets I use.
See, that's what I'm debating between kind of right now because my interest rate is $5. But,
Okay, yeah. So if you're on a budget, go ahead and do $5.
Okay.
How you go,
So,
Jonathan?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. How's everything? How's your new store? How's the setup and everything? How's your first few sales and Facebook ads and everything?
Man, it's going great.
That's good to
right
hear.
now, I'm finding more opportunities to research more products, so I'm trying to like launch more.
Awesome.
But I don't know why. I launch really slow now. I have no idea why.
All right, let's break it down. So how long are you taking to upload one product, you reckon?
Probably like a whole day.
Whole day, all right. So let's talk about product research. So once you find the product, what's your next step? What do you do next?
Add it to my store, make a description.
And then how long
And
does that
then-
take?
About an hour.
An hour.
Like I know I can. Like,
Yeah,
no,
well,
I
I'll just
feel
break
like-
it down with you. It's fine. So with your description and your photos, what's your current method for doing those?
Just importing it all, and honestly, like it shouldn't take me that long. I know I have a problem with like procrastination and shit, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, then it's just a procrastination issue then. What sort of helped me do it is I would have like a podcast open or like some YouTube video open, and I just play it during the. And then I think that's when having multiple screens come in handy, because I have like 3 screens, and my third and smallest screen would be the one where I would have it up and playing, the podcast, and then the other 2 screens I would be just uploading products to my store.
Yeah. What podcast would you recommend?
I really like Joe Rogan's podcast. I like Gary V's podcast here. I think it's called Ask Gary V, where he brings in like a lot of sort of entrepreneurs onto his channel, as well as Tim Ferriss's podcast. That's pretty good as well.
You're going to university, yeah?
Currently I'm on a gap year, but yeah, I should be in my second year at the moment.
Yeah, I'm trying to like manage my time with that as well right now, but
Oh, no
it should be
way.
okay.
Yeah, that must be difficult because when I was during uni, I did a lot on dropshipping throughout the semester, but when the finals came in, like the 3-4 week period, I just couldn't do dropshipping at all. I just had to go all in on finals. So that sucked. But during the holidays, the holiday break is pretty long. Like it's like 3 months, and I think in America you also have like a 3-month summer break. That's where you want to just go all out on dropshipping, and then hit a goal. Say if I hit $500 every day consistently, then I could quit or take a gap year or gap semester in uni. So that's what I did.
Do you plan on finishing your course or?
So my gap year will end by the end of this year. So I guess every time I've been making a decision, like for example, it was supposed to be a gap semester, but seeing how well this semester has been, I really enjoyed it. I really grew my personal brand. I grew coaching. I grew, my course sales, my stores. I've automated a lot of things. Since that's been pretty good, I've chosen to then take another gap semester, making a gap year. So at the end of this year, depending on how well I've improved, how well I've been going, how well my businesses are, then I'll make a decision if I want to take another gap semester. And I think with my course, I could take up to 2 whole years off. And if I come back within those 2 years, I could just do my degree without having to, redo my high school exams, entrance exams, or anything. I just go back and complete my degree.
Yeah.
So it's pretty risk free.
Cool. Cool. What do you think like affects CPM? Because a lot of my ad sets, like it starts with like a pretty low CPM, and like it climbs over time.
Over time, what affects CPM is if that's happening, it's sort of like audience saturation, because eventually there's less and less people to show up to. So now, from an audience of say 500,000 people, you've reached already say 250,000 people. Now Facebook has to struggle to wait for those 250,000 people, which is now half the audience, to be online and show them the ad. And as you keep on showing the ad to more and more people, basically the audience becomes less and less, and then it becomes more and more difficult for Facebook to then time the ads for when they log onto Facebook, when they check their news feed, and being more difficult, CPM cost rises.
Okay.
Yeah. How's everything, Chris? Any other questions?
Let's say you want to start branching into other countries, like smaller countries. Like, obviously, you can't use like a percent local like in Iceland, because there'll be like 10,000 people. How would you target these countries, the smaller countries?
You go ahead and look at your sort of best interest targeting ad sets, and then duplicate it and do it for those smaller countries. And even with a 10,000 size audience, I still go ahead and use that lookalike audience, because that's 10,000 people I could reach, and they'll give me data on Ireland or Iceland's sort of purchases, and then from there I could go ahead and do lookalike audiences, and the audience will just get bigger and bigger from there.
Okay, I didn't know if you can. If it was worth running a 10,000 audience or not.
Yeah, I've had a few ad sets I've done pretty well at sizes that small, and CPMs are cheap in those sort of smaller countries as well.
Okay, now one more thing. Like all these people who are doing like 5 figures a day, like what are their profit margins? Like, is it above 30% for them?
How much a day?
Like people doing thousands of dollars a day, like at least like 5K a day.
5K a day?
What are their profit margins?
So around 5K a day, you still can probably maintain a solid 20 to 25% profit margin.
Okay, I thought like you needed like 40%. You're doing that.
So as you keep on doing bigger and bigger numbers, your profit margin always decreases. So if someone's doing say for example Stephen Evan Tan, if they scale to like 300k days, their profit margins might drop to 15%.
Shit.
Oh yeah.
So the smaller numbers you do, the higher profit margins. But as you scale to bigger and bigger numbers, your profit margins always decrease. It's impossible to increase your profit margins as you scale your store. It's sort of similar to what's a good metaphor? I think. I can't think of a good metaphor at the moment, but I think it's sort of it's just like business. Like I think it applies in many things where the higher you go, it's like it's the law of diminishing returns. Like for example, with studying, in the first basically 10 hours of studying for a topic, you learn so much at such a fast pace. You're probably learning say 90% of the content, and then the next 10 hours you study for that same subject, you only can cover probably the next 10% worth of the content, because at that point you're just refining details, you're sort of just slowly increasing because you know most of the stuff. So it's like law of diminishing returns, and that also applies with like sports training, especially in sports. the first 10 hours of learning a sport, you're just learning exponentially. But as you keep on learning more and more, you just get diminishing returns. And that happens with business as you scale as well.
Beautiful, man.
Levi, any other questions, Levi?
Retargeting ads. How to do them, who to target.
So with retargeting, I'd recommend you go ahead and retarget people that say view content and didn't add to cart, and people who add to cart and didn't purchase. And then you could go ahead and use the same video.
What
as an
audience
ad.
size would you recommend for that?
I do it. Once a product starts making maybe a few $100s a day, I'd go ahead and do it straight away.
Okay, but wait to those, let's say $400 or $500 days before you start doing the retargeting.
I recommend you could do it. You could do it at even like $200 a day.
Okay.
Because the retargeting wouldn't spend its money unless you have basically the audience for it. So if no one is adding to cart or purchasing, then the retargeting ad wouldn't spend much money that day. So retargeting is really good because it will just spend depending on how much people, get added to that audience. So if you're retargeting people who add to cart but didn't purchase, and every day you're only getting 5 or 6 people who did that, then the retargeting would then go ahead and reach out to those 5 or 6 people, and it will only spend like maybe $1 at max or a few cents, something like that. So retargeting audience doesn't spend $5 every day. It just spends how much that is added to the audience.
Would it then go and show that person that ad like 15 times? If it's a small audience?
So you could leave a cap on how many impressions you want. So you could leave a cap saying 1 impressions every 7 days. That's something I do as well.
Okay, so you could cap that.
Yeah. And they'll cap this.
I'm actually going, as we speak, I'm going and creating custom audiences for the video views now that you told me how to do it.
Awesome. And then you could just ask me any questions on the spot as well.
Yeah.
All right, on to you,
What
Jonathon.
have been obviously the more details you go, the better it gets. What have been your most profitable lookalike audiences?
Actually, there isn't any profitable, like sort of, 1% usually doesn't outperform like 5%. That's usually never the case. I always have good performing ones at 1%, maybe 3%, 5%, 7%, 9%. It's always different. Like people would think that 1%, 2%, 3% would be the best performing ones, but that's really never the case for me. It's usually always random. And on top of that, I find that lookalike audiences for like individual countries do really well for me as well.
Okay. So let me ask you this. You have, to begin with, you have 3-second views, 25%, 10-second, 50%, 75, 95. And then you have all these countries and you have all these audience sizes in terms of 1% up to 10%.
Yeah.
How would you recommend structuring that so you can go and break out kind of slowly?
So you go ahead and sort of go and first start with where you're getting most of your purchases. That's what I'd recommend.
And do 1% for each of those countries, 2%, 3%?
Go ahead and pick one country that's been driving you a lot of sales and do from 1 all the way up to 10%.
For which custom audience? 3-second, 10
Yeah, I
second?
start from 3 seconds. I always work from the bottom up.
Okay.
And usually, talking about performance, obviously purchase, lookalike audiences, view content, add to cart, lookalike audiences usually always do best for me.
But you still say I should start from the bottom, even though I do have significant data.
That's what I'd recommend, because the reason why I do that is I always find 1 or 2 ad sets that do really, really well, even though it's a 3-second lookalike audience. And as I sort of build up, I'm also collecting data and building data for the later stages. So if I do lookalike audiences for 3-second views, I'm building audiences for my 10-second views. So when I go ahead and do 10-second views, I have already sort of build a bigger audience, so it's even a stronger 10% views, and you sort of keep on doing this, and you bring it up the ladder, so that by the point where you hit add to cart and purchase lookalike audiences, those audiences would be really big and strong by that point. So that's sort of the reasoning behind why I do that.
Got it. And in terms of how fast you kill off these audiences,
moment it
what would
hits
you
profit
recommend?
margin, moment it gets a pretty high cost per click, moment it gets pretty high cost per add to cart.
Okay, so if let me ask you this: if I don't get any purchases from that lookalike within a day, should I kill it or should I let it continue to run?
So if it was getting, say, 10 cent cost per clicks, I'd let it run. If it was getting $3 cost per clicks, I would kill it.
Yeah, got that. What's in general? What's your cutoff at cost per click?
And if your profit margin was like $3 and it spent like $5, I'd kill it.
Okay, yeah. No, the product I'm working with right now has a profit margin of $14, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so you could leave it to run for 3 days at $5 a day, if it had good CPCs and good cost per add to carts.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'm keen to hear how the lookalike audiences go. Keep us updated on the group chat. I want to see, how far you can push your products, launching lookalike audiences and getting into the world of lookalike audiences. Because once you start mastering and learning lookalike audiences, that's where you blow up your store to like the next level.
I'm still mastering the interests right now, or beginning to get all to them and stuff.
Yeah, there's no harm in just playing around with a bunch of different strategies, I reckon.
So do you recommend me continuing to launch new products or focusing more on this product that is getting me sales at the moment?
I'd recommend you do both. But if you don't have time, then just scale the one product if you don't have time. But I'd recommend you do both.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Andy.
Yep.
What do you recommend is the best break-even point? Like, to make sure you're still making a profit, but you still get the impulse buys.
Yeah, so I know that Richard recommends 70% and you kill it at 70%, but I still kill at break-even point.
Oh, okay, but like, I mean, like in terms of profit margin, like how much should you be making?
So
Like
I'm
per
willing
sale, I guess.
to, when I scale a product, usually the cost per purchase is roughly, say, 70% of break-even point, and then I only make 30% on the front end, but I have a lot of upsells, I have a lot of email marketing that sort of take it to the next level and make sure I make a pretty nice profit on the back end. So that's sort of
Okay,
what
so-
I'm looking at for a winning product.
So would you recommend like at least like $15 to make sure you're making at least $15 per sale to be worth it?
On the
So I
front
know
end,
like
that's way
cost
too
purchases are
much.
getting high.
$15 on the front end, that's like massive. So that means like it's really like you have to find a really, really good product for that happen. That's sort of not ideal because, for example, that means you have a profit that has a 30% profit margin. So you must be selling it for at least $50, and you're getting cost per purchases for $50 product at $15 cost per purchase. That's super rare, but if that happens, then that's a really good product.
Yeah, because one of my ads was for a new profit testing, not the other like one I couldn't scale. There's another one. It's like cost per purchase like $5, and I'm making 15 on the front end.
Cost per purchase is
So-
$5. Yeah, so that means your profit margin is $20.
Well, I'm making like 15 off purchases. So is that like optimal to have at least like make sure? I don't know. It's kind of like a confusing question though. Like I guess not to sell low ticket items, like I'm trying to say.
I don't mind. Like, I always go for. Well, I only go for products with a minimum profit margin of $15. That's definitely something I do. because you know that's sort of you don't want anything less. So I guess that's what you're asking for. What product?
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah. So I'm looking for $15 minimum.
Okay, yeah.
Hmm.
So I'll make sure I want this lower than that.
Yeah, never go lower. That's yeah.
What do you do in terms of, you spoke about $15 profit margins. So for example, this $14 product is $14 if I ship it to Australia, but if I'm shipping it to the US, it's 16, and various other things like that. So how would you adjust for the difference in price of a couple dollars depending on which country you're sending it to?
So I just look at the average cost, sort of average profit margin. If the average profit margin is under 14, under 15, then I wouldn't test that product personally. So if I'm looking, say, you could sort of tell the average when you go to the AliExpress page, you put in a bunch of countries, you could see it hovers around a certain price. And at that certain price, that's my cost of goods price. Then I look at how much I'm selling it, and the difference would be the profit margin. If the profit margin is too low, you could also increase the cost of the item. That's a way to combat that problem. But I just look at the average. So I know it'll average it out at a certain number. So I'm not worried about some countries getting a cheaper cost of goods compared to another country getting a much more expensive cost of goods, because eventually it'll average out to the price I initially calculated at. And if at that point there's a profit margin more than $15, then I go ahead and test that product.
Got that. Okay, thanks.
No worries. Jonathan, any other questions?
Yeah. What product research method have you found like most effective?
Ad Turbo really does well for me. Like going ahead and looking at ads that are currently being shown to me live. The spy tools, that did pretty well because that sort of optimizes my account. When I look at ads, Facebook then sees that I'm just seeing ads adding to cart. But just looking at other competitors' ads and finding ones that have recent engagement, those are the ones that do the best for me.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I
then
think the flash deal method stopped working.
Oh, is it? No way.
Yeah, cause they changed the what do you call it? The page template. So
Oh,
there's
yeah,
no more
right.
like.
What I do for the flash deal method is I combine it with the first AliExpress method. So you click on the orders and see if that flash deal is really getting those 6 pages of orders as well.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good trick. Yeah.
Another thing I've found that's been pretty good, due to the recent update on Facebook, you can see the ads any page is running.
That's
So
something. Yeah.
you've got your big stores. You can go on the left-hand side. There's the you can see the ads those pages are running. So like all the big ones, Shopsina, Hype Bargains. What was the one that you like? The some Dude Gadgets.
Yeah.
For example, yeah, you can go and see the ads they're actually running, and you can see the engagement they're getting as well.
Because that's definitely something I'm going to post. Like, I think over the next, hopefully over the next 2 days, I'm going to upload a few new methods, and that's one of the new methods I've been using, and that's been doing pretty well. I'm going to upload that to the course. Yeah, that's definitely good because you can actually see all their new ads live, and definitely collect a list of pages that consistently add in new products and just spy to see which one does well, so you can get a head start if you want to get a piece of the pie. If you're, most people are at the level where they want to get a piece of the pie. When it comes to creating a pie, that's when stuff gets a bit more difficult, and you want, intuition to look at a product and know if it's worth testing.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys? I think Zoom is. I've got
Yeah,
3
we
more
got
minutes. Yeah.
Are there any niches you've been finding cheaper CPCs with still good products? I mean, for me, I found the car niche has been pretty good.
Okay, that's pretty interesting.
I
think
that's
I've
really,
actually-
home and garden's been really expensive for me lately.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. Home and garden has been really expensive. That product where you spray the grass and the grass grows. that product's been pretty
But not
hot.
just that. I mean, even stuff like just based on the targeting. Like if I target Bed Bath and Beyond or something like that, it's been really, or like Lowe's or one of those other stores, it's been really expensive as well.
I noticed
I
that.
know.
Yeah, I noticed that. With like, I've tested a lot of sort of garden products, sort of those like ones where you dig holes, stuff like that. CPMs are like really expensive. Car products, I've noticed that, you know, that's pretty cheaper. You know, all those car scratch products, those car pump products, all those type of products.
For me, there was like, you know, those little accessories that you put in your car as well. Thing is, you have to find something with a decently high perceived value as well.
Exactly, but that's still pretty good. I think accessory wise and clothing wise, I see some stores kill it, like some stores that do really, really big numbers just off bikinis, off, you know, viral sort of woman clothing, like sort of those clothing that sort of look really, really unique.
And you think that's cheap?
CPMs are pretty cheap because, you know, you just target, if you go broad and go, you know, women fashion, it's pretty cheap. Since I target worldwide, I get pretty cheap CPMs, but for US targeting, CPMs are roughly hovering around $18 to, you know, $25, and that's sort of the CPMs that me and all my other friends are getting, and that's sort of normal for US targeting. Yeah, so I used to
like
think
24 cent CPMs. It's really cheap.
yeah, 24 cent CPMs, that's insanely cheap, yeah.
Well, I think our time's up now. Nice meeting with you guys.
Yeah, likewise. I want to update us on the group chat on how everyone goes. Chris, definitely want to see how you go scaling that product. So as you, Levi, tell us how the lookalike audiences perform. And Jonathan, keep us updated on, you know, the progress of your store. Really want to see it grow.
Alright,
Thank you.
Okay, bye guys.
All right, see you, team.
Awesome. See you.
All right, bye.
Bye.